Welcome to this Military and Aerospace Electronics QuickChat. Today we'll be discussing COTS products with SWaP in mind for defense and space applications. I'm Jamie Whitney, Senior Editor at M&AE, and today we're speaking with John Riley, Senior Technical Marketing Engineer with a focus in military and aerospace markets at Samtec for Powell Electronics. John, welcome and thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a bit about your background to start us off?
Sure, Jamie. I appreciate you having us. I've been with Samtec for the past 20 years with different variety of backgrounds, from connector design to application design, testing and measurements, and with now a focus in the military and defense and aerospace field. So we'll focus a lot on that industry and how Samtec fits.
Sounds great. As a U.S. company founded in 1976, Samtec is much more than just another connector company. They put people first, along with a commitment to exceptional service, quality products, and innovative technologies that take the industry further, faster. This is enabled by their unique, fully integrated business model, which allows for true collaboration and innovation without the limits of traditional business models. From standard cataloged products to unique high-performance design, Samtec's product solution blocks are designed to support any interconnectivity need, regardless of application, performance requirements, or environment. So we've introduced this chat by mentioning product solutions and innovations. Can you talk about how Samtec specifically supports the military, aerospace, and defense industries?
Absolutely. Samtec supports the military and defense industry by about 14 or 15% of our business is in that industry. We create not mil standard specific connectors.
Sure.
But we create a lot of connectors that fit or test to many of these mil standards. Okay. So the solution blocks mentioned above are feature sets. Are they rugged connectors? Are they high-speed connectors, cables, or optics? So many of our connectors cross many industries. But when we talk about defense and aerospace, they have some different requirements for higher environmental needs, more rugged considerations, lighter weight, and all those features. So we do kind of categorize some in that defense and aerospace industry. But they're not necessarily mil standard connectors. We have a very strong presence in many of the industry standards, embedded computing, the VITA standards that feed into a lot of military products, a lot of the embedded computing. So if anyone's used a 3U or 6U VPX card, many of the connectors on board are Samtec products. And they've been Samtec products since the early 2000s. So if you've flown one of these cards in one of your environments, you've flown Samtec connectors.
Great. And yeah, VITA, especially these days with open standards, it's fully encompassing, the world that the military and defense industry lives in. What are some of the features of Samtec products that make them a good fit for that industry?
A lot of Samtec products are a subcomponent of a much larger system. So we have to go down to the raw plastics and the metals and the contact designs to make sure they fit in those industry applications, all the way down to the plastic resins that we use. Many of them are a liquid crystal polymer that fall on the NASA's outgassing charts of acceptability for space applications. So even to the raw resins, they're prepared for those extreme environments and outgassing considerations. When we get into the feature sets of the contacts themselves, how we design those multi points of contact for reliability for extreme rugged environments. We have one family, we call it the Tiger Eye family. And what that is it's a beryllium copper stamped and formed contact that has multiple points of contact that's extremely reliable for the shock and vibration, different levels that are needed. This came from early 90s when you used to have a stamped barrel, a machine barrel and a stamped contact system put together. We included that all into one contact system. And that proliferates out to multiple connector pitches, heights, stack heights. So you have a lot of options there. When we get into some of the newer, higher speed stuff, we get into what we call our edge rate family. This is what you'll find in many of the newer VITA standards, as far as the FMC, XMC, those type of standards. This is a stamped and formed contact system. The system itself has been in those FMC and XMC families for a long time. While we were even designing that, we worked with Collins Aerospace in qualifying a new contact tail option. Some connectors, the ball grid array is a post with a solder ball on the end of it. Mm-hmm. The Samtec C-Ray connector that's in those standards has a solder charge technology. And so it acts very similar to a solder ball, but it's actually an eye of a needle with solder embedded in it. And so you not only have a post with a contact going into a solder, you actually have an eye of a needle wrapped around the solder itself. So you have additional points of contact in the solder joint itself. And it still collimates the same way that a solder charge or solder ball would do during reflow.
That's really clever.
So those are a couple of the more frequently used contact systems and plastics. But that also proliferates through, not just the raw pins and plastics. Some of that carries over into our cable, our high-speed cable, and into our fiber optics as well.
That's fantastic. You mentioned VITA, and I'm curious, how does Samtec validate that these products not only work across multiple industries, but more specifically work in these extreme environments that our war fighters and their industry partners may operate in?
Yeah, so our standard testing is based a lot on many of the EIA standards, just contact resistance, mating, unmating, normal force, all that. We take that a step farther with a lot of these running parallels to the MIL DTL 55302. And so that is a more rugged military form of testing. So we run a lot of parallels with our traditional connector testing across all industries, but then we also elevate that in what we call our severe environment testing that takes the key product features or the key testing features from that MIL standard 55302 for the extreme shock and vibration, the high altitude, the extended temperature ranges. And we want to make sure that we take connectors that we're using in the defense and aerospace industry to those same levels. A lot of our connectors are part of a larger system, and those larger systems may be qualified to whole other standards inside the MIL spec world. But we want to make sure our subcomponent meets or exceeds those same standards. Something new that we've just added is a lot screen testing on a sample size. So we still qualify the parts, the whole family, to those MIL spec, those 55302 parallel test parameters. Because of how small some of these features are, we can't do 100% lot screening. Some of them are destructive. Some of them will damage the parts. So we will actually do a sample size where we solder them to boards, send them through the whole thing, and the customer will get that report with it. So all that is based on that MIL DTL 55302, and that's an option. So as people are looking for products, whether they're exploring through Powell Electronics website and learning about Samtec and the military, defense and aerospace industries, we can then work together to make sure you have a product that meets or exceeds those standards. You get the lot screen reports that you need, and they hit all those key metrics for those extreme environments.
That's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to call that a wrap for today. Thanks again for joining us, John, and thank you to the viewers for tuning in.